Hello everyone, my name is Alejandra Aguilar. Hello everyone, my name is Alejandra Aguilar and this is my Celebration of Learning presentation. So the problem that I noticed I was trying to solve by implementing my change idea was basically behavior issues that were coming up during distance learning and in-person learning. Our elementary school uses an acronym for our school mascot, which is HAWKS, and I wanted to use that to our advantage. And it stands for honest, achieve, willing, kind, and safe. I wanted to focus on these school-wide norms to improve and enhance behavior and create that culture and safe space for all students to learn. During distance learning, I've noticed some of these norms are often forgotten, so I wanted to reinforce them daily for our whole class. My change idea my change idea question is, can I use SEL strategies to reinforce our school-wide norms and increase positive behaviors in our learning environment? I plan to use a different letter each day of the week. For example, Mondays will start with H for honest, Tuesdays A, achieve, and so on. When students log on in the morning, they will see a slide with our character trait for the day and a few examples. I will ask students to respond with their own example of how they can follow the norm during our online learning. I will collect student responses through a Google survey. How does your change idea help solve the problem? I want students to have great examples on how they can demonstrate these character traits in order to create a safe space for all students. I also believe this will be a great way to hold students accountable when they need gentle reminders about behaviors. My strategy purpose. What problem does the strategy address? So the problem addressed by this strategy is behavior challenges online and in person. Students lack motivation and are not following school-wide norms, which include being honest, achieving, willing, kind, and safe. By allowing them to focus on one character trait each day of the week, we can keep the consistency of reviewing it multiple times so students can practice. Teachers can use this daily journal type of reflection in their own classrooms and modify it to what they would like to reinforce for their students, including multiple modes of responses can also vary depending on what the teacher prefers. Okay, let me go back to my website for data sites and for equity. So for me, when I started these cycles, I started with reviewing school-wide norms daily to increase positive behavior. I was hoping to learn if students have the proper understanding of our school-wide norms in order to hold them accountable for following these norms and to ensure we create that safe learning space for all students. I collected my data using Google surveys and I created a new survey each day and I changed the character trait depending on the day. Students were able to respond with their own examples and demonstrate ways they could create a safe learning space for all students and follow our school-wide norms. I use this response form so it can be accessible to all students at home and in person. I learned from this first cycle that it was a simple task that I was able to just integrate into our daily morning greeting. It helps students remember and reflect on these school-wide norms that every student should be following to start us off on a good day, and everyone just clean slate. It was great to see students' different responses and how they changed their thinking to following school-wide norms online versus in person. It gave me great insight on what areas they needed more reinforcement with and support with. And then I also ended up modifying it because I realized that students were wanting different types of ways to represent the responses. So I ended up changing the types of responses. I was able to add different modes of expression for students. So for example, I added, you can write a poem, you can draw a picture, you can record yourself on a voice memo. I tried to include fun different ways for them to express their answers. And I even went as far as including like TikTok videos. So students enjoyed that and like sending me a link of that. So that was kind of cool. I got to see how they think and you know, they got really creative with it. This is a picture of a poem that someone wrote. Kind is cool, kind is caring, kind in school, kind is sharing. So they got really creative. I continued to post an example for them each day of the week, and I allowed them to record their answers in different ways. So I think they really enjoyed that. I actually had an increase in participation each day. Before, with just a survey, I had about 50% participation, and now for the rest of the days, I've had at least 75% of my students respond, which is amazing. And even as I kept going with my cycles, I kept modifying it, and I included time for them to share their responses. So they really liked that kind of that time to own their responses and share out with each other. So that was another kind of different technique I added for them to be able to share. And then going back over here, I'll go ahead and go over my teacher growth. And let me, Okay, so the rationale behind my change idea, I just wanted to reinforce norms to increase positive student behavior, and overall it definitely worked for the better. I used various SEL articles to inform my practice and related to students. I used resources shared by colleagues, and I've been put them into our resources section of my website. My change idea has transformed my teaching for the better because I was able to do something about the behavior challenge I was facing instead of feeling defeated. I was able to take action, and I believe that will motivate me to continue to take action once other challenges arise. I believe all of these CSTPs kind of fall under what I was doing, engaging and supporting all students in learning, understanding and organizing subject matter for students, and planning, instruction, and designing learning experiences for all students as well, with the modified responses, assessing students for learning. So just kind of doing those different modes of responses so that I can see, whether they drew a picture, they wrote their poem, they did the survey, whatever they felt like doing that day was acceptable. And definitely creating and maintaining effective environments for student learning, which was my goal of creating a safe space for all. I know I learned that students need different ways to show their learning, so that also makes me think for future assignments, not just with this, but giving them an option to express themselves in different ways. And it changed this whole PDSA cycle. All of them changed student learning for the better by setting the tone for our classroom environment and allowing students to realize we need to follow our norms in order to be successful, and create that safe space for all of us. I'll go back over here to my page. And so, just to recap, I used to think SCL strategies were not as beneficial in behavior management for online hybrid learning. I was not aware of the different types of strategies you can integrate into everyday lessons in order to reinforce positive behaviors and norms in the classroom setting. So I feel like these whole cycles gave me that chance to, really get creative and think about how I could help myself, and I definitely did help the students. So overall, I think that was great. Now I think I can use different SEL strategies to encourage my students to try their best and follow our norms in order to have the best learning experience possible in this time. I'm also aware they would like different modes of responses in order to show their understanding. I promise to keep this daily activity going to reinforce our norms and desired behavior during our learning. So we have a little over a month of school left, so I enjoy this, they enjoy it, so I'm definitely going to keep it going. And that was pretty much it. I added the resources over here through, yeah, so that's it. Thank you.